Purpose. I tell people all the time that you were created on purpose for a purpose. You know, it might have surprised your parents that you showed up here, but you were no surprise to God. He already had your life in his heart. So take some time today, spend some time with your Father. Make sure you seek him for what your purpose is. And I promise you that the thing you're looking for in the universe is already inside of you. The gift of life and purpose, God has already put inside of you. And let me tell you, the best days that you live in your life will be those days where, number one, you're in God's will. Number two, living your purpose that he put you here for. Hello everyone, it's your girl Regina Sunshine coming to you from what is always a beautiful day for me here in Atlanta, Georgia, from the Regina Sunshine Show, bringing you my version of midday motivation and helping you get a Regina Sunshine state of mind. I am so excited about the show today. Today's show is a continuation of our Black Female Excellence show, just to make sure we're showing the world what we really are as opposed to who the media says we are. So I can't wait for you to meet these beautiful women of all backgrounds and all types of giftings, and they're going to bless you real good. And not only that, they're going to inspire you to live your life in excellence. I start off every show talking about something I'm thankful for. And today I wrote down, I'm thankful to God that he continues to protect me and my family and continues to surround me with amazing women. You know, people say that women can't get along and that we can't support each other and we can't work together. That's a lie, because I know some amazing women and a lot of them are in this room. So thank God for the sisterhood that's around us and the sisterhood that continues to grow. All right, you guys, you're back live with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show, and a continuation of our Black Female Excellence series. And I'm going to start with the one directly to my right. Her name is Miss LaQuana Anderson. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Girl, that hair is so hot. I love it.
Thank you.
Again, I think was Saga Boss that connected us. I guess he's my official book people to the show person because he sent some amazing people here to me. But let's go ahead and get started because you got a multitude of things you're working on. What's your nickname? Tell me your nickname.
LA Pink.
So it works, right?
Yes.
Well, we'll start talking about your jewelry business. You have a custom handmade jewelry business. Tell us about that.
Well, like she said, I'm LaQuana Alexander. I am the CEO and founder of LA's Creative Creations. It's designed to enhance the personality of each individual. So everything that I do is handmade and uniquely just for certain individuals. You know, each piece, you'll never find anything duplicate. Each one of my pieces was inspired by one of my family members. My mother, her name is Pearl, and I named a collection Twisted Pearls because you don't want to get her twisted.
Yeah, I like that.
So a lot of it just came from inspiring. God that was something that he just gave to me. It wasn't anything that I knew. I didn't take any classes, or it wasn't even anything that I wanted to do. But when you're being obedient to the things that he is calling you to do, he began to show you why that was something that he had given to me. And so now I accepted it, and now I'm doing it.
See, I can identify with that because this was never in my plan.
Come on.
I got a call on a Sunday night and asked me that I want a show. See, that's how I ended up here.
God.
So, yes, I just decided, well, if he sent it to me, I'm going to go forward.
Gonna do it.
So, the business part of it, because, you know, you say you talked about, you know, beginning to make these pieces because you were inspired. Why did you also then turn into a business, turn into an entrepreneur?
Well, like I said, he had given it to me. He had poured it into me, and I was going to service, and the pastor kept saying, "Somebody out there sitting on $1 million business. Somebody out there sitting on $1 million business." And I was at the time making jewelry for Piper Billups. Anyways, I was making jewelry for her for free because my cousin Mimi does our hair, and so they was like, "You need to start a business." I was like, "Nah, I'm just doing this little hobby." And I went to service, and the pastor said that, and I threw my hands up. I said, "Me," but as I began to say "me," God began to pull. I mean, like it was like a rush into me, and so now then he said, "Okay, it's a company." So I shut down everything, and I just did a debut. And I opened up, I closed down one of the hotels, the biggest hotels in Colorado, and had a big old just layout. I made over 2,700 pieces. Wow. Yes. And the pastor came there and said, everything needs a name. I said, everything need a name. I said, I don't even understand how that could happen. Like, that's not even, I'm looking at him like, and I'm looking at God like, what just happened? But as God showed me, I looked at my niece, and her name is Aspen. And he just started pouring each name into me. Like, so Aspen is all my wood collections. That wood comes from Ghana. It's hand carved and hand painted. The pearls, which is the twisted pearls named after my mother, all those are freshwater pearls straight from the ocean. And the crystals that's placed in it, they're all hand placed. So everything has just so significant of what he's doing. Even from the men's collection, when I got out here, he began to give me my men's collection, and all that is precious jewels, every stone, you know, the jaspers, the black onyx, all that is made, and all that's on the breastplate of armor. Yes. And he took me to the book of Revelation. And so when he took me there, he began to show me the stones, the significant meaning of them and why they were placed on there. And so then when I did that, it just gave a whole nother meaning of why he chose jewelry for me. Yeah. And so the hands that I touch now, when I make those drops, those blessings, those are blessings, and those are seeds. And those that accept the seeds, now have accepted him. So that's how I look at it.
Wow. Now, see, you done took me several different places. Let's talk about the importance of finding your gift, because I hear it all in you. So we're going to go ahead and go there because God has gifted each of us with something, and with a business, something to not only take care of your family, but to be a blessing to the community. Amen. How important is it to find, because it's inside of you. You ain't got to go anywhere else to find it. He's already put it in you. Come on. How important is it for each of us to find that gift and act on it?
Man, it's crazy that you just said that, because Pastor Larry, which he's here today too, he just asked us that question yesterday, and about listening and accepting and moving on it. And that's what he has all of us doing here today, is moving on the gift that he has given us, you know. And sometimes we don't understand. I tell everybody all the time, it's tight, but it's right with God. Yes. When it get tight, then you know it's right. And what he has me doing right now, like I said, he used it through the jewelry. And I know the ministry that's in me. And so at first I didn't understand it, because I'm like, I just want to just work. I just want to be a servant. But ministry is where I'm going and what I will be doing. I know that for a fact. You know, I know that. Clear. Yeah. I know that, and I have accepted that, and now it's the learning. He's teaching me through great people like Pastor Larry and other different great people like yourself that he's bringing into my life to because he teaches me different. He doesn't teach me the way everybody else is. You know, they've been in Bible classes in school and all these different things. I've never been connected in a way with him through a service, through church or any of that, because I am the church. I'm an ambassador, and I know that. So just walking in the purpose of what he needs me to do.
I love it. I am. I'm already thinking about some stuff we're going to do together. But anyway, yeah. Unity in the community. Talk to us about your organization, Unity in the Community.
Unity in our community, ATL, is a group of organizations that have collectively come together to serve one purpose. And that purpose, I have said, for God. God has given us to teach, train, equip, and empower individuals to function using the keys of the kingdom of God. A lot of organizations out here, they're feeding the homeless, but they're not feeding their souls. They're not feeding their minds and their bodies to react in a way that when they're getting the help from organizations or from United Way and all these different places, their minds are set for the deliverance of the giving, you know. And so even today I brought a young lady, Miko, that have joined Unity in our community, and she is a prime example of what we're feeding and why we're doing what we're doing. Because just a while ago, and I'm not going to go all into debt of what, but she was going through a transitional stage in her life, and a few months in October, she came to me. She said, Ellie Pink, I want to join you. She said, I want to join you side by side with you and do exactly what you're doing into our community, and that is giving back. And before she even got her placement of home or anything, she joined me. And so she's been in the field with me ever since, but now she received home that's paid up. She has a job. Matter of fact, she done got, just this morning, we went across the street to Mr. Brown, and he offered her a job over there. So this is what this is about: is reach one, teach one, how to do what God is doing for us, because we are manifest and we are witnesses to the manifestation of what He's doing. And so, with Unity in our community, ATL, that's what we do. We reach one, teach one. We're a hand up, not a handout. And so we're going to get them. I say all the time, I tell them, I can meet you where you at, but I got to take you where I'm going, because I'm going to the top, because the bottom, like Dr. Ed Womack says, too crowded. It's entirely too crowded. So you're to the top, because the bottom is entirely too crowded.
I love it. All I hear is love. I tell people all the time, love is an action word. I know you love me because of what your actions are towards me. We know that God loved us because He gave His Son. That action of love proved His love to us for an eternity.
Amen.
How important is it when you're out in the community that you show love to our homeless citizens?
Love comes first. That's the reason why with a lot of them, we react the way that we do. We take pictures, and I know to a lot of people, because the Bible says, let what you do be done in secret, I will reward you openly. But see, what people don't understand about now LA Pink is that the reward is now openly. So what He has me doing with them when I take pictures, it's for when you remember when you were a kid and you would take pictures and you have a big old afro and it'd be raggedy, and then all of a sudden you look back at them pictures and you be like, girl, I remember that afro. Oh, but we still friends. See like I said, I'm meeting them where they're at, but I'm taking them where I'm going. Miss Miko, she can look back right now. I met her in October. She didn't even want to get in front of the camera, but she in front of the camera now because see, we in the field. But see, we stick with them. Like I said, I'm meeting them where they're at, but I'm taking them where I'm going. So the pictures that's being taken, they can look back at it and say, I remember, but look at me now.
Yes,
but look at me now. So it's a difference. A lot of people go out there and they take pictures with them and they never see them again, and they don't even know their name. They can't even call them. Each one that I come in contact with has my phone number, and they can call me any time of the night, the day, or whatever. And I like I said, I don't just go out there to feed them. I feed their minds. Miko, I used to call her. She wouldn't answer my phone. And I kept calling. I didn't care if it was 1 o'clock or whatever. God put it on my spirit to call, I call. Because you coming where I'm going. Yes. You coming. And now look at her. She right here, right beside me.
Praise the Lord.
She right beside me. We got up this morning. We went down to Peace Street and Pine and gave out clothes and everything, And it's not bragging, but it's giving the glory of what God is doing. People go social media about everything, but they don't want to go about His glory, because in change of His glory, it's nothing like seeing them where they're at, but now seeing them where they're going. It's nothing. I mean, when people see her now that have been in, even Mr. Brown across the street, he was just like, oh my God. But that's God. Because see, you pour into them what God has given me, something that nobody can pay for. And that's glory. That is a story that is now that's going to set inside their minds to say, I can change. I can do this. I can be a better person. And not only just because of the things that they came in and gave me, but what they poured into me, my spirit. You can't change the spirit. That's why He say, try the spirit by the spirit. See, they get some of these scriptures twisted. The scripture doesn't just mean just try the spirit by the spirit of it's everybody. It's the homeless, because some people could not be homeless, but be homeless their spirit in their mind. And they walking around here and they got books and they got all this stuff. And just like a gentleman I just talked to yesterday, he want me to come on with him to help him produce some movies, but then he talking to me and he ain't even right. He like, I don't even know where I want to go. Well, first of all, I need you to fast for 3 days. That's what I need you to do. Come in an agreement with me. Because once you become in an agreement with me, then it'll change your mindset, change the way you think, change the way you eat. And then we can move. But that's where I'm at with it.
Oh, girl. I'm about to throw the mic down and run around the building. God knows.
Drop the mic.
Well, next we have Dr. Pinky Miller. And I'm trying to remember again, Dr. Miller, who connected us. Because, again, I getting emails from people I know saying, you need to know this amazing woman. So I'm just thankful to have you here. And you're here to talk about your books and your story. And the thing that stood out to me, and most people don't know this, I guess if you're here and you're just meeting Dr. Pinky Miller, was that you were in the high school. You were in the high school with Joe Clark from the movie Lean on Me.
Yes.
And you are a product of that high school.
Yes, I am.
Talk to us about your book.
Well, for those of you who don't know, and thank you, I am a product of the real Lean on Me movie. I am a Joe Clark kid. Thank God for Joe Clark. Because if it were not for Mr. Joe Clark, I don't know where I would be. And for my mom as well, because I am a fatherless daughter. I am a product of a mom who was overworked because she had to raise 6 children by herself. She worked 2 full-time jobs to raise 6 children by herself. And it was tough. And unfortunately, I was molested as a little girl. It was tough. It was very, very hard for me growing up as a little girl. And to be able to go through that and not know who my father was. So it was a lot of trials. It was a lot of tribulations, but thank God. God got me through it. And I was molested not only by cousins, but by other men who were brought into the household. I was molested in grammar school and then also in high school. And so for those things to happen to me and to be sitting here before you with my PhD.
Come on.
And to go to a high school where God thought it not robbery to bring a man into a high school who told me, you have 2 strikes against you. You're poor, you're black, your home run out of this ghetto is your education. And make sure you get as much as you can because your education is your home run out of the ghetto. So get it. Don't worry about these little boys running around here. Get your education, Pinky. Mr. Clark was not only a father figure to me, but to so many of my classmates. And so getting my PhD, I wrote my dissertation on the trials, the tribulations, and the strategies that Mr. Clark used for me and so many of my classmates. Because he was a father figure. He used tough love for us. He would tell you, comb your hair. What are you doing? Go iron your clothes. Pull your pants up. He would, for a lack of a better word, he was the father figure. He would tell the boys, I don't know, you need to go brush your teeth. He would give us money out of his pocket for those who didn't have it. For instance, one of our classmates who did not have an iron, and the kids in the classroom would Jones on her. She would come to school with wrinkled clothes. And for a child, if you came to school and you had wrinkled clothes, that was a big thing. He wouldn't bought an iron for her. That may not be a big thing for other people, but for that child, that meant the world to her. Children who didn't have money for food, children who didn't have sneakers. And back in the 80s, children at that time, if you walked to school and you had sneakers on, when you walked home, if you had Adidas sneakers on, when you walked to school with sneakers on, but you walked home without your sneakers, because you would get beaten up. You would get if you had a chain on, you would get your chain snatched. If you had a coat on, the big bomber coats on, you would walk home without a coat. I mean, it was tough back in the 80s. Back then, crack cocaine was hot on the scene. It was horrible during that time. Mr. Clark was a father figure that really cared about the students. And Eastside High School became a safe haven for me and a lot of our students at Eastside High School. So for me and a lot of my classmates, not only did I write my dissertation on the strategies that he utilized to help us get out of Eastside High School and out of Paterson, New Jersey, but it was a phenomenal experience. When you look at the movie, a lot of people ask, was it really that bad? Yes, it was.
That was one of my questions.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And when you think about a lot of the things that happened and you think about the characteristics of the students that were in the movie, and what they did was they took a lot of the characteristics of the real students. For instance, Sam, who was, the student who was on drugs at that time and went through all of those transformations. A lot of students were on drugs at Eastside High School because crack cocaine was on the scene. And Kanisha, the student who was pregnant at that time. There was a lot of teenage pregnancies that were going on at that time. And so Mr. Clark was a father figure to a lot of the students who were pregnant. And that life story for Kanisha was one of my classmates. That was her life story, and she actually wrote that part of the story. And in my book, I also highlight 52 of my classmates. I have classmates who are lawyers, doctors, teachers. They're doing phenomenal things. I have classmates who are working in Dubai, working with the royal family in Dubai. I have classmates who were working with the Obama family. I have classmates who are, like I said, lawyers, doctors, teachers, doing phenomenal things here in these United States, who are just awesome. Mr. Clark is currently, he's still alive for people who are just wondering where he is. He's originally from Georgia. He's living out in Gainesville, Georgia. His daughters are doing phenomenally well. They just created a Joe Clark line of paraphernalia that you can purchase online. He's doing phenomenally well. He said his time is over. He did all of the hard work. It's our time. And he has basically passed the bullhorn, if you will, over to his students, because now it's our turn to allow people to lean on us like we leaned on him. So it's our turn to allow people for us to lift people up, and that's what we do. I am currently serving in my background. I was in higher education for almost 18 years, and I transitioned from higher education. I was actually working in student affairs for over 18 years as a hall director in student affairs, an area director in student affairs and residence life and housing, an assistant dean of students, a vice president of student affairs, and then I transitioned from higher education to education in elementary education, and I am currently serving as a special education teacher. And what I have found is when I was in higher education as a dean of students, I found that a lot of students, when they would come to my office and I would counsel them, I found that a lot of them were dealing with a lot of issues, being molested or dealing with family issues that I also dealt with, and it stemmed from being a child, that they were dealing with issues that they never were given strategies to deal with as a child. And so now that I am serving as a special education teacher, I am now able to work with those children and give them the strategies to help lift them, and prayerfully when they get to college, they will have those strategies so that, and I'm also able to help them with their parents, because I work at a school where we're in Decatur, where the zip code that I work in is the highest level for pedophiles. It's the highest level of larcenies. And so our students are working with some major issues. Our babies are coming to school. They're so angry. They have been abused. But the school where I'm working at, we are a STEM school, so we are educating little babies, little brown babies who are being educated with robotics, science, technology. But at the same time, how can you train and educate a baby who's hungry? So at this school, our babies, we are 100% free and reduced, not reduced, 100% breakfast and 100% lunch. So, I mean, it's amazing that we're able to love on these babies each and every day. And so it's just it's been an amazing journey. I also have a second book where I talk about the trials and tribulations of being molested and all of those things and how God just brought me through. And it's amazing just to hear your story, because it was trials, tribulations, but also the triumphs. Because at the end of the day, God brought me through it, and it's just been an amazing journey. So, yeah.
What I see is the ripple effect from Mr. Clark's life into your life, and now the ripple effect from yours to the next generation. How important was it for you, after the impact he had on your life, to also be in education?
Oh my God, it's amazing, because every day that I go to my school, McNair Discovery Learning Academy, I have a principal, Dr. Brian Bolden, who loves on these babies each and every day, and he allows his teachers to just be who we are. And we're able to love on these babies, and the love that they may not be getting at home, they get at our school. When these babies, they come to school to get the love that they may not be getting at home. And just like Mr. Clark, the love that a lot of the students may not have been getting at home, we got that tough love, but we still got that love. And so that piece that was missing at home, we were able to get at high school. And so we're able to then pass that love on to our children at the school where I am serving right now. So it's just love, like you were saying before. And love conquers all at the end of the day.
Awesome. Ooh, I'm having a hard time wanting to switch up because you got some great stories. Our next guest on the show is Miss Elaine Turner. And I officially met Elaine at the Bold Awards.
Yes.
If you guys are not familiar, they're ATL's hottest magazine this year, Bold Favorite Magazine, and you were there. Welcome to the show, Elaine Turner.
Thank you.
Well, you know, Elaine, you are in the insurance field. Yes. And that's why I said we got such a great diversity of women here. And I love that because, you know, we need to talk about us and the lack of insurance. So let's go and get into it. Why did you get into insurance?
Well, actually, I got into insurance back in 1995. I responded to an ad. There was an ad in the paper. They were looking for a customer service representative. And I wanted to go to work. I had been a housewife, so I was ready to go to work. So I actually responded to an ad, and that's how I actually got into the field. But I didn't really realize at the time that I got into the field, the opportunity that was before me. I responded to an ad, but there was a whole nother agenda that God had for me that I didn't see it at that particular time.
Yes, because as I read your bio, you started off, you know, working for someone else, but you actually own your own insurance agency. Now, tell us about that.
I do. Well, I got into insurance, as I mentioned, because of the ad. I worked for a captive agent. A captive simply means you just work for one particular insurance company. So I did that for quite some time, and then I decided that I would go into ownership. Well, I then did a franchise for a little bit. That didn't work out really well just because the franchise wasn't set up for you to be successful. And then I partnered with some women. We did it together. And probably about 2 years ago, I actually started my own. So I am the sole owner of my own agency now.
I love that. So since we're talking about insurance, let's talk about insurance in the Black community. As you are working with your clients, what are you seeing in terms of our community and what's lacking in terms of insurance?
Well, first of all, to know that it's something that you need to have, you gotta have. We take it for granted. And sometimes people want to get insurance just to go get their tags and don't realize some of the ramifications behind not having auto insurance. So that's just one of them. And one of the biggest ones is life insurance. Life insurance. Everyone needs life insurance. There's no such thing as no one needs life insurance. And GoFundMe is not life insurance.
Say that again, because that was my next.
GoFundMe.
Say that again, because you see that all the time, right? People pass and then they're trying to raise money to bury them. Talk to us about that, please.
GoFundMe is not life insurance. Life insurance is when you get life insurance and you're paying for a premium. A chicken fry is not going to bury someone. Life insurance, people think that life insurance is expensive. Life insurance does not have to be expensive. You can get a young person can get a $100,000 policy and just pay $10 to $12 a month for it. You can get policies where they are a little bit more pricey, but then you have a different agenda. You're trying to build cash value in there. But regardless of where your financial situation is, anyone in here today can have life insurance. There's no one in here that's exempt that can't get it. And we can start out with wherever your dollar is. I want to meet you where your dollar is. If your dollar, you tell me $15 a month, Elaine, is all that I can afford, then let's start at $15 a month. But whatever you do not having life insurance, and then your family is out there with fish fries, chicken fries, trying to bury you. That GoFundMe is not life insurance.
We're gonna hashtag that GoFundMe.
Oh, GoFundMe. I am
insurance.
too. I need someone to do a marketing piece for me. GoFundMe is not life insurance. It's not. It's not.
Well, when someone comes into your office for the first time, say you got a client coming in, what is the first thing I guess they need to be educated on in terms of having insurance?
Well, it depends on what their individual needs is. I do auto insurance, I do homeowners insurance, renters insurance, life insurance, and business insurance. If it's a business owner, just the importance of having insurance. People take for granted they have a business. They take for granted that nothing will never happen or that they don't need it. But life insurance protects you in the event that something happens for a premium. We'll just use an example of transportation. It can be any type of transportation, how important it is to have that commercial insurance. You can be out there driving, just take your eye off the road, and we all are guilty of it, to look to the left, to the right. Before you know it, there's an accident and $1 million lawsuit. It can happen just literally that fast. Or you're a beautician. The person comes in there and they don't tell you that their scalp had been sensitive. You put a perm in there, we know it burns, but this particular person's scalp is really sensitive, and you cause all their hair to fall out. No woman's going to take their hair falling out lightly. There's $1 million lawsuit. The premiums are so inexpensive. Auto insurance, you take for granted, a person calls you, we're calling you to remind you as a courtesy call that your policy is getting ready to lapse. You don't call us back. You out there driving, and then you cause an accident. That's a lawsuit. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So my agency, we educate you. I don't want them to walk away thinking I am after the money. I am after educating you. That's our primary goal, is to educate you as to why you need life insurance.
Well, I think we all got some stuff out of that right there. I mean, because it's so important. And it's, before you even mention the GoFundMe thing, that's what I was thinking, that you see it almost daily on social media, don't you?
Yes.
That people don't have life insurance. And I don't know what it is in terms of mindset that we don't need
Yes.
it. What do you think it is in terms of mindset of people just thinking that it's not going to happen?
Well, it's going to happen. You can't check out of here without it. I mean, so there's a guarantee. As it's appointed to live, it's appointed to die. You can't check out. There is no way that you're going to bypass this particular event in life. They say major events. This event here, you're not going to bypass it. Yeah. You're going to have. And I think one of the myths is that it's too high. I think that's one of the myths. And then I think the other thing is me educating people to let them know that it's not expensive. If you can afford pizza, you can afford life insurance. If you can afford a pair of shoes, you can afford life insurance.
We all learned a lot today.
Yes.
And hopefully some people at home were listening.
Life
They're going
insurance.
and get that right. If you're just tuning in, you have missed an amazing show, and it's going to continue to get better. This is the Regina Sunshine Show, and this particular series is our Black Female Excellence series. This is the third or fourth show we've done in this series, and we continue to meet some amazing Black women that are doing great things in the community. And I'm going to start off our next interview with the lady to my left. This is Taj Anwar, right? Yes. And I met her for the first time today, but I saw her it was a Huffing Post, did a clip about you and Anwar Farms and what you're doing with the farm. So just welcome to the show, sister. I said before, a little starstruck, but I'm one of those service starstruck people. I mean, people are doing great work, and that gets me every time. So let's go ahead and get started, because there's so much here to talk about the work that you're doing. But I want you to, first of all, tell us, what is MOBBB?
Well, MOBBB is Mothers of Black and Brown Babies. It's actually an extension of the FTP movement. Started back in 2002, working alongside Kalanji Jamachanga, who is a well-known activist in the city and nationally as well. So what that was doing was, I was back in the early 2000s. I was really struggling. I was a newly single mother, and I had 2 small boys at the time. And I had promised myself that once I got in a better position, that I would assist other mothers to not have to go through what I was going through. So I would collect clothing, and I would load it up in the back of my minivan, and along with some food, and we would serve the people. I'm one of those kind of people that don't need 501c3, or I don't need permission from anybody to serve my community. I'm an instrument of God. So if God is the people, then serving God is church, right? Amen. Amen. All right. So, I'm of the mind that, it doesn't matter your religious preference or affiliations. We're all here to do the work. So that's why I did that.
Well, as you read your bio, there's so many things that you're involved in that just draw on my heart. But one of the things that stood out the most was Anwar Farms. Please tell us about the farm.
Anwar Farms pretty much started as a small garden. I'm from the Bluff, which is kind of almost where we are. And my people taught me how to grow food, right? So what happened was they were low income, and they were proud women, and they didn't want to go wait in the line at the office. So they said, hey, let's grow our own food. So pretty much the only thing they went to the store for was chicken and beef, and that's pretty much it. So my gardening beginnings are very small, very humble, very, very grassroots. So once my grandmother and her twin sisters and a couple of her other sisters passed, nobody else was interested in cultivating the land but me. And that doesn't make my family bad people. They weren't interested. So I'm one of those people that, I was always interested in growing food. I would go out in the front and pick the collards and the tomatoes and the peppers with my people, and then we would cook dinner. So that was kind of innate for me, second nature, just being in the dirt and knowing the source of where your food comes from. That's old school. That's real school, That long before Walmart and Kroger and all that stuff was a big thing. We was out there growing our own food, raising our own chickens and raising our own livestock, chopping our own bacon, all of that stuff. Now I don't, do the meats, but I do have chickens. We do have eggs, and the chickens are very happy. So they lay a lot of eggs, a lot of good healthy eggs without the hormones and stuff that have your daughters having their cycle at 10. So we also make almond milk, Brazil nut milk, just, good wholesome eating and trying to bring that back to the hood because, a lot of us weren't raised on that. We were raised on having the corner store with the Cheetos and the Lay's chips and pickled pig feet and some Orange Sunkist soda to wash it all down, which is why we have such a problem with diabetes and heart health in the community. So me being who I am, I like to think I'm pretty cool. You know, and me looking how I look, I don't look like the typical farmer. So when I show up, people are like, oh, you farm? Yes, I farm, and so can you with your nappy hair and your beautiful black skin. So that's what we doing.
Tell you. Well, you're mentioning the food, and I work at Mays High School. And I was telling somebody recently, first of all, it's a very chaotic environment. So if some of y'all hadn't been to the schools lately, you need to go and so you experience what's like in the schools right now. But the thing I've noticed is that every day they're eating hot fries. And there's no real food. They come in for breakfast eating hot fries and Cheetos. They don't even go to the cafeteria to eat what's there. They're still eating hot fries and Cheetos. So from reading your bio, you're going into the schools and you're doing workshops. How important is it to you to change the mindset of our kids? Because if their parents don't know, they've got to get their information from somewhere.
Right. Well, I have 4 children, 3 teenagers, and that's 17, 15, 13, and 7. I have a 7-year-old baby. He ain't no baby, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But exactly. But it was very important to me and their father that they eat holistically and eat whole foods, So it was important to me that my daughter did not have her cycle at 10. So she wasn't even in a bra fully until she was well into middle school, and a lot of her peers were already in bras in like the 3rd grade. So I know that the stuff that's in the foods, the chemical altering, the preservatives, the sugars, and all that stuff has a lot to do with why our girls look older than how they look. And then we're telling them, oh, you're so mature, you act like a little woman, that this is the issue. So the food, cultivating with how we're even talking and treating our young people, it's making them grow faster than they need to be. So there's no confusion as to why they act the way that they act. People, oh, why they act like that? They think they're grown. Well, you tell them that they're grown, number one. And number two, the food that they're eating has them physically looking older than what they are. So I think that if we get back to the source, back to the land, back to the dirt, back to the soil, that we can change that whole thing around, you know what I'm saying? And in addition, we can go ahead and heal some of us who are already here and have made bad decisions. We can start turning this thing around. I just had 2 relatives to pass. My uncle died last week, had shortness of breath, and then caught an infection and died. So if your immunity and stuff is not built up before you start catching these things, then you are easily succumbing to this stuff. You can grow something for your family just on this little plot of slab marble right here. You don't need that much space, and you can start with something very, very basic: your salad greens, your tomatoes, your peppers, that sort of thing. You don't have to have a full-scale operation, but if you just start small, and you can just build on what you're doing, you can change your situation. So I want to say that, because a lot of times our people are afraid of growing.
Please tell our listeners where they can find you and how they can follow you.
Personally, on all social media, I'm Beretta Scott King. Beretta like the gun.
Like the gun.
Because I'm a big advocate of women learning how to protect themselves and their families.
Yes.
So definitely want to get trained up on that. I know we ain't talking about that.
No,
but that's important.
Well, next up we have Miss Sandra Fuller. I met Sandra through Dr. Robert Watkins with Conquer Worldwide and the Rescue America program. Welcome to the show. Well, I'm a big supporter of what you guys are doing with Rescue America. Tell us the goal, because I think it's 200 cities?
200 cities. We're going all across America, and we're trying to create we're creating entrepreneurs all over the United States. And it sounds really, really big, and it's our bold promise to America. What we're doing is we're creating entrepreneurs, not just for yourself, not just to bring income in for your household, but to create employment all over. So if you're starting your business, that means that you're going to be the biggest leader in your church, right? That's a goal. You're going to employ more than one person. You're going to now become, you're affecting your community, because now someone can ask me for $5. It's different than if I show them how to make $5. And so that's Rescue America. We're taking people all over the United States, whatever city you are, we're taking your vision. We're taking your idea. We're showing you how to manifest that vision. First, we're going to show you how to structure your business properly. Yes, you do need to understand what the government wants you to do in terms of structuring your business. Make sure you know the difference between LLC and a corporation or a nonprofit. Those mean something, and we have to know how to take advantage of those. We know the president has taken advantage of his tax status. We need to understand those principles too. The next thing we're going to do is after we structure your business, we're going to show you how to write the plan. Now, the Bible calls us to write the vision and make it plain. No, not just there. A lot of people stop right there, but we're also going to write it so that those who follow will read it and run with it. So we want to show you how to create the right team. A lot of us get into personality conflicts, and I started the company and so-and-so wants to come and take it over. No, so-and-so wants to be the person that goes out and promote your business, right? So-and-so understands more about money than you do. So so-and-so needs to partner with you and the person who likes the limelight and the person who has more understanding of organizing and creating the system. Dr. Watkins does a really great teaching on this, how to create a team. And so it's not you by yourself. That's not going to work. But we need someone who knows a little bit more than you about money. We need someone who knows a little bit about marketing. We need someone who knows about sales, because those are the components in your company that's going to help you get from right where you are on your block to bringing your services all over the United States. And I always tell people, it sounds humble sometimes to say I'm going to do it for me and my family, but it really isn't. It's about serving your community. And the more people you can reach, the more people you can serve. So that's what we're doing. We're writing the business plan, we're marketing, and we also do financing. We do have a source of funds for people who can qualify for it, but what we're trying to do is give you the resources and the empowerment to get you the results as an entrepreneur that you need to bring the benefit to your community. So we do have a program called the 690 program. It's great. It gives you up to $150,000. All you got to do is show that you have good credit, and you can access that money. You can use that money to start your nonprofit, to start whatever business venture you have. We have a lot of people who are buying real estate and they're owning their own homes. And so we have so many people who have done it, that started their company and are walking it, and they're hiring people. right?
I
That's
love
what
that
we need.
because so much of how we begin to save our community is we have to own businesses in our community. We have to have something, a legacy to pass on to our own children, but also we have to be the business owners at the corner store. We have to be the business owner at the grocery store, at the gas station in our own community. And when Dr. Watkins was here, he talked about that.
Yeah.
You know how important it was for Rescue America that we put people into business in our community so we can own our own community. So I
Exactly.
applaud y'all for what
Yeah.
y'all are doing. I love it, and it's obvious you love what you're doing.
I am in love with what I'm doing. It doesn't feel like work, and I believe that when you're walking in your alignment, when you're walking in your purpose, that's it. You know, that it should feel effortless. You're gonna have to work hard. I believe you have to work hard. You have to be outstanding. Excellence is not necessarily the standard anymore. You got to be outstanding. You got to love it, and you gotta love people. As I think LaQuana said earlier, it's a love message. So that's what we believe in.
Lady Joy.
Yes.
Yes, it is so good to have you here. I met you right here in this studio because we had Dr. Ed Womack on our men's show, and you came with him, and we stepped off to the side, and you shared just a little bit about your heart for women, and I had to have you on. Tell everybody about your women's ministry.
Okay, so our organization is Kingdom Women Rock. And it's in this room right now. That's the premise of Kingdom Women Rock, empowering and embracing the diversity that exists in our community, in our culture. We are an array of beautiful women, but we oftentimes we don't embrace it. So we wanted to bring that back. We don't want to battle with your skin color versus my skin color, or your kinky hair versus my straight hair. You know, so just embracing who we are as women. And the other part of what we do is we're bringing back the Titus 2 woman. We want to reach back to those young girls who are struggling in the school systems, who are struggling within their peers. We mentor in the Douglas County school system. We have currently 45 girls now that we mentor, and we go in and we just share with them. You know, a lot of them are latchkey kids. They're going home to nobody. We're in the process of trying to develop an after school program where we can invite more kids so that they don't have to go home to empty homes and raise themselves. So that's what we do on the humanitarian side. We also go into the homeless shelters, and we do bags for blessings for the ladies. We do toiletry bags. We get our girlfriends used purses, and we fill them with toiletry items. And we go bless the girls with and young ladies with those as well. We were partnered with the City of Refuge, and there were, for me, it was shocking because before doing this, I didn't know the number of young girls, and I'm talking about under 18, that are homeless.
Yes.
And there was a baby that struck a real chord with me. An older woman brought her to me. We were giving the bags for blessings, and she said this baby need a bag, but she don't want to come over here and get a bag. So I had to figure out how to get that baby to take a bag. So I said, I'm going to get me a bag too. And she kind of looked me up and down, the young girl did, and she said, you don't need a bag. I said, I do need a bag. I said, I need a bag just like you need a bag. And she came a little closer. And the thing that struck me about this little girl, I'm standing here and she was over there. You could smell her from over there. And another person might have, frowned their face up or been like, what is that smell? But how God has wired me, and I know that I'm called to do this, is because I didn't flinch. And I grabbed that baby and I hugged her and I said, you know what, let's get a bag together. And then it was a chance to be that Titus 2 woman and give her a little mothering. And I told her, not only you ain't just getting one bag, I'm going to find 2 big bags for you because you just special like that. And she just melted in my arms. It was like she in my arms. And that just spoke to me. I'm on the right path. We are doing what God is calling us to do, which is to reach our young babies who have been set out on their journeys, but to help them also find their way back and be able to stand on their own 2 feet independently. So y'all be in prayer with us because we are also on the journey into finding a building so that we can do a temporary living facility that does not look like the ones that exist now. Because what's going on now is that they're in there for 3 to 6 months and they're outsourcing them out. They're putting them out at the 6-month standpoint, and they're falling back into the system again at another shelter. We want to give them the tools to change their thinking, because until we change their thinking, we're never going to change their world. Yeah. So we try to go in and we give them tools to help them see themselves where they want to be, and to give them the education that they need. And we don't always have all the answers, so we need all y'all who are lawyers and, who are teachers and educators to come alongside us and help us give these young babies, our sisters, our queens, our princesses and queens in training, the tutelage that they need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
That is so real. I was talking to a friend of mine once, and she was saying she was at a mall where they were having a job fair, and she noticed a young girl that had on like Daisy Duke booty shorts and like a tank top, and everybody was kind of like pointing and looking at her, and she said it occurred to her, what if she didn't know that's not how you dress to come to a job fair? She said, so she went over to her, she said, baby, she said, did you know you were coming to a job fair today? She said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, did anybody tell you that maybe you should dress a little bit different? And she said, no, ma'am. And she said, well, let's talk about it. She said, but the young woman was very open to receiving that. But we have to get to a place where we stop seeing each other as competition and as family.
That's it.
Because if it's your family member, you're going to stop and say, baby, let me talk to you. Let's get this right. And I think when I heard you speak, that's what I heard, that we've got to recognize that we are a family, and it's time we love each other the way we were created to love each other.
Yeah.
So,
and it's about the unconditional love. I was, had this opportunity this past weekend to speak on love and unity. And the one thing that I recognize about love is under the agape love of God. That's the one we're supposed to all operate out of. We won't do it because we hold love in a conditional state. I love you if. I love you, but. We have ifs and buts way too much. If you do this for me, I'm your girl. If you come over here and you support me here, I love you. But the minute I can't show up because I have my own issue or I have my own circumstances, you don't want to fool with me no more. And how is that empowering? How is that even unity? And until I hear the word empowerment all the time, people wearing it out left and right. But until we can really be empowered, we're going to have to walk in some unity together. How can two walk except that they agree? We ain't gonna never walk in the same direction if you pulling that way and I'm pulling this way, and we can't never come together on a compromise and say, okay, well, Sandra, you got a little bit going on with you. Okay, Joy, you got something going on. Let's match that thing together and bridge us together and stop competing and start collaborating, seriously collaborating.
I love it. I do. I want each person, like 15, 20 seconds or less, remind our audience. Number one, real quick, what it means to you to be Black, female, and excellent, any one of those. And if there's some parting word, we'll start with Rashida Marshall.
Thank you. To me, to be Black, female excellence is to not comparing yourself to other women around you, is to know that you are on the right path, to know that the vision that you have for yourself is where you're destined to go. And no matter what hardships, difficulties, or obstacles get in your way, you already know the end goal, and you know that's where you're destined to be, and to continue to work towards that, and love all of the people who come into your life during your journey, who help you get to where you're trying to be.
Miss Elaine?
It's to walk in whatever purpose God has given you, and to, as someone said earlier, reach one, teach one. We're not successful until we bring everybody in. When you are just successful by yourself, you didn't help anyone. Our job is to not only fulfill whatever the ministry God has given that to us, and that is in the marketplace, whatever marketplace that we're in, which is our job, but that's to also bring someone in as well. Show someone what you do. Don't be intimidated to share what you know.
Awesome.
Being Black and excellent is, for me, about being a positive role model, mothering not only my children, but the children that my children come in contact with, and the children that their children will come in contact with. It's about leaving a positive legacy in reference to mothering.
I love that.
Being Black women of excellence to me basically means unity, being able to meet other people like me, and we work together to create bigger things. There's one thing to be a great leader, but you can't be a great leader if you're not a great follower, and you're really not a great leader if you're not bringing other people with you to be leaders as well.
Awesome.
Being a Black woman of excellence to me is being a trendsetter, to start something and not get involved with whatever else is going on, to always listen to the spiritual that God has given to you, and to always practice what you preach. That is very important. A lot of us want to preach, but we don't want to teach, or we don't want to walk in what we're teaching. So always walk in the purpose, as everybody has said, of what God has ordained for our life.
Fourth Sundays.
And every fourth Sunday of every month, Unity in Our Community, ATL, we are at Renaissance Park. We'll be there on the 26th. You guys are more than welcome to join us. It starts at 1 o'clock, 1 to 4. So we would love to have you guys.
Awesome. Dr. Pinky Miller.
Being a Black woman in excellence is to listen to God and then be obedient to what God told you to do. At the end of the day, do what he told you to do.
Awesome.
Well, I'd love to see us as Black women take off that superwoman armor. We're not superwomen. What I'd love for Black women, and what it means to me, is we're fallible. It's okay to make mistakes. What's critical for us to understand is knowing ourselves well enough to pick ourselves up and keep moving. And sometimes you got to hold someone else's hand as you move along. But make sure you understand that we're not here to save the world, but we're here to understand ourselves, being obedient to God, and knowing when to pick that man up and keep walking. You're blooded, but you're going to keep going.
That's awesome. Lady Joy.
I would say, for me, and I hope someone gets this, is that to put the word striving in front of the word excellence, because we're always striving for excellence. I don't think any of us have completely 100% made it, and knowing that it's not just a destination, it is a direction. So that's where we're going.
Absolutely.
I actually think that we're all pretty excellent actually right now, and can we get more excellent? Sure. But I like for us to know that we are all excellent in some facet, even if it's just how you wash your clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to acknowledge our excellence within ourselves and within one another, and in doing that, we empower each other, and we can do better for our people and for the people who are coming after us and the people that are coming after them. Because at some point, everybody in history was where we are. They're in the right now. So as we become older, we become the elders, and they're looking to us for their answers. So let's make sure that we are leading in our excellence as well.
Awesome. Well, I thank you all so much for being here. This is such a blessing to be. The energy in this room is amazing. To our listeners, I know you were blessed, and I leave you with the words I always leave you with. God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. Make sure you guys tune in again next time for the Regina Sunshine Show here every Monday from 12 to 2 with my version of Midday Motivation, helping you get a Regina Sunshine state of mind. And I leave you with my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning. God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life.